before being vice president for 8 years. So, that's more than half the guy's life has been in the U.S. government. Now, what did he do before he went into politics? Well, he was a student. He went to law school, and then he was a lawyer for a few years before, I think he did one term, in local government before he ended up in the United States Senate. But you don't get elected 6 times, telling the truth. In order to be as successful as Joe Biden was in politics, you got to lie. You got to be a really good liar to get elected that many times. And Joe's a good liar. I mean, after all, he started out as a lawyer, right? There's an old joke about lawyers. How do you know a lawyer is lying? His lips are moving. But, one of the reasons that lawyers have to be good liars is because lawyers have to argue their client's side of any controversy, whether it's civil or whether it's criminal. Now, of course, a lot of times your argument is BS. Somebody hires you and they're wrong, right? Either you're a criminal defense lawyer and you got a guilty client and you got to lie and pretend he's innocent, or you're defending somebody in a civil action and you know that they probably did it, but you have to argue that they didn't, right? You've got to argue your client's position, even if you're arguing a lie. So to be a good lawyer, you got to be a good liar. That's part of being a lawyer, being a liar. I mean, the words are almost the same, right? And that's why so many lawyers go into politics, because they have a lot of practice lying, and if they're really good at lying, then they're going to politics. Now, some lawyers who are really good liars, after they go into politics, then they become judges, right? Because they're lawyers with political connections, and so everybody is lying. So the fact that Biden lied, I mean, it doesn't shock me, and the fact that he took bribes, I mean, a lot of people, that's why they go into government, so they could sell their influence, so they can take bribes. Now, a lot of times they wait until they leave, right? They go to Washington, they make a bunch of friends, and then they leave, and then they become lobbyists, and they sell their influence that way. Now, that at least, I guess, is legal. What Biden did, he didn't wait until he was out of office. He did all of it while he was still in office, while he was still the acting vice president. That's what makes this really criminal. But I think what's worse is the way the media is reporting this, or not reporting it. Go out there and look at all the mainstream media reports about this. And they all start off with, Republicans have no proof that Biden did anything wrong. This is all a witch hunt, because at the end of the day, the Republicans can't prove that Joe Biden was in any way connected to all this money, which is BS, because they don't have to prove it. It's a circumstantial case. The government doesn't have to find a document where Biden signs a contract where I will do this for you in exchange for this money. You're not going to put a bribe in writing. That's the whole point. Yes, obviously there was a backroom deal, right? A quid pro quo in verbally, right? A couple of people meet and they agree to do something. They don't leave a paper trail. The trail is the money. That's the evidence. The fact that you have 16 companies with no business purpose, performing no services that you know of, selling no products, earning all kinds of money without any invoices, and then you have all of these transactions without any legitimate purpose, and then all the money finds its way into the pockets of Biden family members. Like, is this some kind of coincidence that all this is happening? All of these foreign interests are just lavishing the Bidens with money just, for nothing? Of course, it's obvious what's going on here. Once you show this, this is how governments do money laundering investigations. I mean, I ought to know. I mean, 7 governments have investigated my bank for money laundering, and they found no evidence of it. Well, there's plenty of evidence that the Bidens were laundering money. I mean, it's all there. I mean, this is exactly what they look for. Structuring, shell companies, transactions without any legitimate business purpose. That's what was going on. Now, the burden now, once you have this case, this strong case, circumstantial case against the Bidens, it would be up to Joe Biden and his family to now show the legitimate transactions that were taking place. Where are the invoices? You got all this money for doing what? Prove that you did something of value to earn this money. They should have the documentations of what they did. I mean, because if I'm going to send somebody millions of dollars, they better send me an invoice. I want to know what I'm paying for, right? I mean, what work did you do? I want to make sure you're not overcharging me. Produce those invoices. Produce those documents. They can't do anything. They've got no evidence. So the media is focusing on the fact that there is no smoking gun that says, here's a contract that we have between Joe Biden and the Chinese, where Joe Biden is going to, pass this legislation or enact this in exchange for this money. There's no way that document is going to exist. That never exists. I know the government probably puts people away for money laundering, for RICO violations, with a lot less evidence than they got against Biden, because they don't have to have that smoking gun. When you can build a credible, strong, circumstantial case, if the person you're accusing can't come up with a rational explanation for what looks obvious, then he's going to be guilty. Yet the media doesn't even want to acknowledge that the president might be guilty. Instead, they're attacking the Republicans. I mean, imagine if this was Trump. Imagine if this happened with the Trump family and all this money was going to his kids. I mean, they would be all over him. They already are all over Trump for doing nothing. What did Trump do? He paid some money to somebody not to talk about something, a non-disclosure agreement, perfectly legal. They're just thinking, well, did it violate campaign finance laws? That's nothing compared to what Biden was doing. In fact, what Biden was doing is much more than Watergate. I mean, Watergate was nothing compared to what Joe Biden obviously did, yet the media doesn't care. Meanwhile, everybody is talking about how this jury said that President Trump back in the 1990s, sexually assaulted, did not rape, but was too sexually aggressive with this woman in Bergdorf Goodman's back in the 1990s. I mean, who the hell knows whether or not this happened? I mean, maybe Trump forgot about it, or maybe it did happen, but, who cares? That was in the 1990s. Maybe Donald Trump made a pass at this woman. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. Maybe it went a little far. Who the hell knows? But she didn't say anything about it in the 1990s or the 2000s. She just starts talking about it now.